So today we're going to be talking about some ultimate frugal tips and hacks to potentially help you save a ton of money. Now, this is actually a list that I compiled myself of things that I do on a regular basis to help me save more money. Now, I actually also asked my wife for some tips as well too that maybe I don't even notice that I do on my own, and she actually gave me a couple, and I think they're going to be very valuable for you guys. So make sure you stick around to hear everything on this list. Hey, fellow wealth builders, Dennis here with the TruFinancials channel, where we love helping you build your wealth and becoming more financially free. If you're new here, make sure you have that red subscribe icon, hit down below, and then also the bell to get notifications when new videos come up. So as I mentioned, this is a full list of things that I personally do when it comes to being frugal. By no stretch do you have to do any of these type of things to be frugal. There's a lot of other ways to be frugal as well. So some of these things might seem outrageous or just plain maybe dumb for you. But I hope maybe there's something in this list that can really help you, be a little bit more frugal to help save more money to reach other kind of goals, whether it's paying off more debt, investing, or saving for retirement, whatever the case may be. I really hope that this list can have something in here for you. And then also too, let me know in the comments down below if you decide to utilize any one or some of these tips, but also to make sure that you leave a comment of something that you do that's frugal that maybe I didn't mention in this video to help other people. So if you're also in the comments, make sure you're reading what other people are saying. Learn from the community, because I think that's a great way to be able to continue to grow and learn, is by finding what other people are doing and maybe implementing them into your life as well. So I'll definitely be going in the comments and reading every single one of them. So make sure you leave some really good tips, and make sure you're reading other people's comments to continue to learn and find other ways to save more money. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this list. So the very first thing that is going to be on this list is actually paying attention to the car that I use. And what I mean by this is by two factors. One is gas. Now for me personally, I actually really pay attention to how I'm utilizing my gas. So if you look at that meter where it's like the rams per minute, I actually pay attention to try not to go over the 2 rams per or 2K rams per minute, because that actually is going to help me reduce the amount of gas that I'm using. So I don't hit the gas as hard as I can when the light turns green, and I make sure that I do not hit it as hard as I can, so that way it's going over that 2. Obviously sometimes depending on the level of the ground and a couple other factors, sometimes it'll go over, but doing it that way actually helps me save a ton of money on gas. And the other thing that I do when it comes to my car is actually really pay attention to when I'm hitting the brakes. So when possible, I actually try not to use the brakes, so I'll gradually come to a halt when I can. Obviously if there's a stop sign or if there's a red light or getting off of the freeway. So utilizing this actually helps me not push down on the brakes, which then means the brake pads don't get pushed down as much, which actually helps me not have to buy those every so often. So doing it this way actually helps on a couple different fronts, and I think it's a great way to do it. But again, it's not everybody's choice when it comes to finding ways to save money, but I think it's a very effective one because it also saves you money in the long run on the wear and tear on your car. So next up is checking cost per unit price. Now I do this on everything that I buy, and you can ask my wife this as well too. She'll tell you all the time that I'm in the store breaking everything down by the cost of the unit or the ounces or whatever the case may be. So much to the point that I've actually even broke down the cost of Costco toilet paper in comparison to other stores and how much they sell their toilet paper for. And just a quick tip to save you some time, Costco toilet paper is some of the best value that you can get in toilet paper if you're not utilizing any type of coupons. Just a heads up, because I actually had a 20-minute plus conversation with my brother on the cost of toilet paper per unit, and that yes, Costco does have some of the best cost per unit when it comes to toilet paper. So next up, for some of the things that I do to be frugal is actually not getting ice with any drinks that I buy. Now this is a little bit more tedious as far as how it actually helps me save, but it obviously causes me not to need to get as much of a drink, because when I ask for no ice, that actually helps out reduce the amount of space that it's taking up in the cup, so that way I get more of the actual drink that I pay for. So I just don't like having to get a cup and then half of my drink is actually just ice. I don't want to pay for ice, so I make sure that I always ask for no ice, because usually the drink will come in cold, unless I know I'm going to be taking a long time. I might ask for a little bit, but overall no ice helps me get more value out of what I'm buying. Kind of helps me be a little bit more frugal, because then I'm not as enticed to go as often to get those things. So next up is going to be utilizing appliances during off-peak hours. Now a lot of utility companies will allow you to have on-peak and off-peak hours where you're going to save a lot more money during off-peak hours. So if you can wait to be able to utilize the washer, the dishwasher, the air conditioning, the stove, anything in that matter where it's going to take up a lot of electricity, if you could wait till the off-peak hours, course, you can actually save quite a bit of money. So definitely double check with your utilities company to see if they do have that option for you and what those times are, so you can utilize those and actually save a ton of money. So next up is actually utilizing small plates to have technically less food that we're utilizing from our meals and then have more leftover, so that way we can actually eat later down the road, so we don't have to cook as much food, and then actually also saves us a little bit of time, which is something that I love to do. And if you are a fan of this channel, you'll know the next one is actually me not buying name brand items. Now, I do this typically with the grocery store, but this can work with a lot of different things. As I mentioned, Costco toilet paper is technically not name brand, and that actually helps us save a lot of money, still good quality. And one quick tip when it comes to buying off-brand products is a lot of them will have a satisfaction guarantee. So make sure you check the labels on the products to see if they have that option for you, so you can actually get your money back if you don't like the item. But we do it where we buy a lot of off-brand, and that helps us save a ton of money. So next up is a quick one, and this one is going to be laundry detergent. So I actually used less than what they recommend when it comes to laundry detergent based off of the size of the actual load. Clothes still come out clean, still smell fresh, and I utilize a lot less, which then means I don't have to buy the laundry detergent as much. So another frugal hack is actually buying refill bottles instead of always buying new bottles in general. And I talk about this as far as like glass cleaner, hand soap, a lot of the different things that you can buy in bulk when it comes to doing refills. And that actually helps a little bit with the environment because you're buying less of the like components and all this other little things. So in a way, it actually not only saves money, but it helps a little bit more when it comes to the environment. So the next thing I do that helps me be more frugal is actually only eating twice a day. Now, I do this for a couple different things. It's kind of like intermittent fasting, but I don't really do it intentionally for that. I do it because I actually don't like wasting so much time when it comes to eating, because eating costs a lot of time. Now, what I mean by this is not only do you have to decide what you want to eat, put the meal together or go buy it, actually eat it, and then the cleanup process afterwards. It takes up so much time. So for me, I actually love the fact that I not only save a little bit more money not eating as much, but I also save a lot more time. So I usually eat somewhere in the afternoon and then at night. So I don't really do breakfast stuff, and that helps me be a lot more frugal. I still get everything I need when it comes to food, but I do love the amount of time that I save. So next up is shopping around before I buy anything. Now, I typically buy a lot of my stuff from Amazon, so I utilize different types of tools that come with web browsers to help me make sure that I'm getting the best deal, but I do definitely still check other websites. And then a lot of times with Amazon, as a quick little tip, you can look into the other sellers options and actually find some better deals than what they have as far as the front page goes, so I can actually save a little bit more money. So if you are frequent on this channel, you do know that I actually only go to the grocery store once a week. This helps me out tremendously with not having to buy more things, which then technically when you go to the grocery store, you're more apt to actually buy more impulsive items. And this actually helps also too with some time and gas and your, everything else in between as well too. So always consider that if you can go to the grocery store once a week, even every other week if possible, to help you kind of manage your funds and your actual time can be a very beneficial thing when it comes to being frugal. So as I mentioned, one of the things that my wife mentioned that I personally do that I didn't really notice that I do is actually always looking for different type of reward apps for different companies that we utilize. So if we're going to a fast food restaurant, I double check to see if there's an app, or if we go to a store, I'll check the app and see if maybe there's some type of reward program with them, whether it's like an actual coupon or something where, hey, after you buy, 5 pizzas, you'll get the 6th one free. I'm always the one like on my phone ready to make sure that I either download the app, sign up for their newsletter, or whatever the case, to be able to get something for free or at a discounted price. So that's definitely one great way to be able to be a little bit more frugal and save you some more money. So real quick, before I mention the next item, as I mentioned earlier in the video, these are things that we do in that you don't necessarily have to, because I know it's not always going to bowl over well for a lot of people. But this one is one that I feel saves us a good amount of money, especially if we want to enjoy it more often, which is going out to eat. We'll actually split meals more often. So if we go to like Chick-fil-A, for example, we'll usually get like 2 hamburgers. Why did I say hamburgers? Chick-fil-A only sells chicken burgers. Is it chicken burgers? Chicken sandwiches. So when we go to Chick-fil-A, we buy 2 chicken sandwiches, usually 1 thing of fries, and then 1 thing of lemonade. And that actually saves us about 20 to 30% on the actual cost if we both got different meals. We still get full from our meals, and then we are actually still very satisfied. But if we do that enough, that actually helps us save a lot of money in the long run. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I love shopping on Amazon, and so maybe you might do this as well. And this is actually saving the boxes and envelopes that I get from Amazon. And I have a ton of them. I actually have a whole thing right behind this camera when it comes to the boxes. And I save these things for a couple different reasons. One, if I actually want to ship something out to a friend or family member, or just kind of have something to be able to store in, I have those boxes. But the other really big thing is if I want to sell something on Amazon or eBay or any other type of website, I have these boxes ready to go. A lot of them are like the smaller ones, and like I mentioned, the envelopes, but I do it that way so that helps me save money. And then kind of side tip, if you're moving, one of the best things you can do instead of buying boxes from like U-Haul or Home Depot is go to a lot of different types of retail stores and see if they have boxes that they're willing to give you. I used to work in retail, and I would actually have my own boxes that I would take with me from the store because we would just throw them away. But I would have like guests and customers that would come in, and I would just give them those boxes if they talked about moving, because it would just kind of help recycle those things to be able to utilize, you know, once more before they go into the trash. All right, so one of the weird ones that I do, and this is funny, is actually utilize every single product to the very last ounce. Now, this was something else that my wife mentioned that I do, just because I do this with toothpaste the most, where after the toothpaste looks like it's completely gone, my wife will start trying to go over to the next toothpaste that we have. But for me personally, I'll sit there and like I'll squeeze every last piece that I can from that toothpaste, and then I go one step further and I'll actually usually cut off the ends of the toothpaste so I can get a couple more days out of it. And it really does work for me personally. But I do this with like the peanut butter jars or anything else that I can when it comes to like scraping every single thing from the bottom, to help me save as much money as I can. That's one more day that I can utilize that product and not have to buy another one, so that can save me some more money. So one of the ultimate frugal tips or hacks is honestly waiting. Waiting is probably one of the biggest things that you can do to be frugal. And what I mean by waiting is obviously a lot of times we should be waiting on a purchase that we want to make. So, you know, you hear the term, you know, sleep on it, you know, think about it. Those are the kind of things that can really help you save a lot of money, because when you take the time and you wait to be able to purchase things, you tend to really kind of go over your head on if those things are worth it or not for you. So for me personally, I do a lot of waiting when it comes to things that I want to buy. So as I mentioned, I buy some things on Amazon, unless it's things that we actually need, like the toothbrush or any of those kind of things. If they're sitting in the cart, I'll let them sit in the cart for a couple of days before I make the decision if that's something that I want to get. If it's at the store, I decide if I want to go back, if it's worth the trip, whatever the case may be. But waiting can honestly be one of the best frugal things that you can actually do to help you save money, to be able to do other things with that type of money. Again, whether it's paying off debt, whether it's investing or saving for your retirement. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and then share this out with somebody else that can honestly really benefit from this information, whether it's on Facebook, on Reddit, whatever other site that you personally utilize. And then I got 2 more videos for you. The top one's gonna be my most recent release, and then this one down here, I really don't know what I'm gonna pick yet. I'll wait to do that until I'm done editing. Enjoy.